Welcome back to Remote Work Bae. I have Thuy and Samira here with me today. Thank you, ladies, for joining me on my podcast. Could you tell me a little bit about yourselves and your story? Maybe we'll start with Thuy.
Of course, Remote Work Bae. Hey, everyone, this is Thuy Diep. Formally, professionally, I have all these acronyms at the end of my name, CGSP, DMCP, CSEP. I currently serve and volunteer as president of ILEA Los Angeles. I volunteer also for Searchfoundation, which is a nonprofit aiding and supporting event professionals and individuals in crisis. And then also, I am co-host of a podcast called Brew, which is opinionated. It's raw. It's really when I can put on my sassy pants. So I have some of my sassy pants on right now. But I think above all, it's what's very genuine is I'm also unemployed and I haven't felt so productive and also balancing my quality of life through this. So I'm excited to get going on this chat.
Thanks.
Yes, girl. I'm so excited to be on here too, to be another Remote Work Bae. I am Samira Bashout. Hello, everyone. I own a company called A Bashout Creation. I am a designer, event architect. I bring immersive experiences into the workspace. I used to do it socially, but now we're turning virtually. As you can see, I like to create little experiences. Right now, I feel like I'm in paradise. So a little bit about myself. I also serve on the ILEA board as well, which is International Live Events Association. I am the director of communications. I'm really trying to get involved in the community and help anywhere as I can. Currently, just doing things virtually until we're able to slowly migrate back into the social, civilizational settings.
Thanks, ladies, for sharing. I wanted to ask you guys, because I saw on social media that you did some type of activation or rally at LA Live the other week. Tell me more about that.
Yes, so there is a group out there called the Live Events Coalition, and they all have different chapters around the nation. And so the California Event Coalition reached out and they asked for ILEA to showcase share the content that they were doing this empty event. They've done it in a couple other cities, destinations around the country. And so they said, could you support? And of course, we replied with yes, of course. This is something that's really important. It is called the One Voice Empty Event, where because right now we can't have events, it's highlighting us as event professionals saying, this pandemic has really affected us and we need to have a voice and have news and have the state, federal level government just support us because we are also struggling and we usually are behind the scenes when it comes to things like that. So it was really great that ILEA was able to be involved, and they actually have another activation coming up soon.
Well, okay, so tell me a little bit about how this pandemic has affected your business. Maybe Samira, you could talk a little bit about your events company, and I know you just launched it too. So
I did. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Well,
just launched it
congratulations.
last year. Thank you. Thank you, Audrey. You were there in presence. So I really honor you for being there and supporting me through this new journey of transition. So thank you so much. It was quite a shock entering this year, having a new business, being a new business owner and diving into that leap. With the pandemic hitting, it was fearful. I had to become a little bit more tactical and strategical of how am I going to shift my company, which was building brand activations, doing exhibit halls, building out structures for events itself. And I switched it and navigated more to bringing virtual health and wellness into the workspace for employees, because there are still companies out there that are functional. They're not losing employees. They're gung-ho in their structure and they're hiring more in this time. And so I wanted to target the actual employees themselves and fuel them and be there as a support to get their creative mindsets flowing and let them know that they still have support in the world. So I teamed up with holistic coaches, nutritionists, different type of yogis, and to demonstrate 1 hour out of the week, sometimes twice a week, and implement these workshops for their employees to keep them drive, like to get the sales up. And it's been very beneficial for everyone. You know, it makes me happy to see the difference that that my talent that I'm bringing in to demonstrate at their offices, and actually see an impact and influence in their mindset and just overall health. So it's been, you know, very challenging, but yet I like the challenge to be able to adapt to this new transition.
And so are you, is
Mm-hmm.
it a completely separate business, or is this something that, you know, you're pivoting your current business to do?
It's the same business. So a Bashout Creation is basically a company that is an agency. So we facilitate all types of events. So
Mhm.
either it's going to be health and wellness, it's a gala, it's a fundraiser, it's a concert. We're virtuing it now into the virtual realm to where we can still bring these activations to you, but more accessible. So eventually I do want to make it more in person, but right now we're just shifting gears to make it virtual, easy, friendly, you know, stick to the CDC codes and just kind of make it fun as much as we can.
That's incredible. And it's a way to still track forward in, you know, such a tough time. I mean, and Tui, how about you?
Well, for me, I'm calling it the pandemic pause. This has been, and it's so great going right after what Samira just said, right? Because I feel like we it's true. We as an industry are so stressed out. We're so overworked, and now having this quote unquote downtime to really refocus and readapt to everything, I've decided to refocus on my inward journey, right? Because when this industry bounces back, when we're learning right now all the things that we need to redesign our minds to work, we are able then to be more authentic, be more true to yourself, and even know who you are, so that you can provide and add value to those clients, stakeholders, etc. And so for me, this is actually the silver lining. It's been really a blessing in disguise for me. Obviously, with the economy and with COVID-19, which is all horrible, there's been positivity in it. You know, I'm on my 10th book. I am rollerblading. I just came back from rollerblading the Venice boardwalk. And so those are little moments that I really try to appreciate and not take for granted, because then the hustle again starts.
Right. And in the pre-pandemic life as an event planner, both of you, right? It's you guys are so busy. So busy. I mean, I still remember when Tui would come over for wine night to catch up, and she'd be studying. You remember that? So it's so crazy. It's like
I do.
like, what were you studying for again? It was, I forgot which exam that was.
I was studying for my CSEP, so Certified Special Events Professional, and I failed the first time. And so this test was hard. And the thing is, it's like Samir and I are in leadership roles, right, for this. And so, yeah, that's what it takes to really balance those things out, to be able to be studying definitions and terms, event terms, and then to hit that pole and
Yeah.
do an extended butterfly, come back down, chat with, you know, the girls that you host, and yeah, and just go back to my studying.
It must be so nice for the both of you just to have some time for yourselves. And I think, you know, like you were saying, Samira, it's so important to work on self-care, right? And I think that emotional and your emotional and mental state are just as important as your physical state. And so it's so great that we do have this time. And I myself have spent a lot of time working on myself as well, considering I have so much time on my hands now, or so much time. I've also been very, very productive, but I think it's just the nature of event planners. You know, we're not used to just being stagnant and not doing anything at all. So was it very difficult for you guys? Like how did it look when in March, right? When we were told that we had to stay at home and all these major events started to, you know, had to back out and close down. Like, how did that look for you guys? And what were you working on at the time?
Yeah, I'm happy to go first. It was quite shocking, to be honest. I was a little biased. I didn't believe that we were going to get to this caliber the city shutting down. And I was like, okay, this will be like for 3 weeks. Well, I'll stay positive, work on myself. And then each week was unraveling new policies, new things in action. And I really did start to worry. I did get scared. I started consulting my peers. I was going through a loophole of what is next. And it basically, I told myself, if this is a time that I need to focus on me, that's okay to take this pause. It's okay to have this time to really center myself, align myself, see what's going to flow my way. I was working on producing the Hot Air Balloon Festival in Temecula in May. I was, going on for Comic-Con again this year. There was so many projects on the line that I was tackling. And I was just shocked of like, am I going to get through this? Are we going to make it through these events? Like, what is the next step? And as pandemic continued to grow and as we're still in it, let's fast forward now from March to May. I was like, okay, how do I become creative still? How can I use it? And I wanted to put my efforts in something new. So I actually started, creating a podcast too, wanting to stay connected. I had to think creatively to keep my juices flowing because I was going through a small depression. I didn't know what was next. It was so unpredictable, but I didn't allow it to consume me. I wanted it to fuel me versus consume me. And the outcome so far has been rewarding of just self-love and self-growth for myself here.
It's beautiful. And how about you, Thuy?
Thank you.
Wait, so I just have to shout out Samira's podcast. And I love that we all are just very prepared with our podcast, our headphones, all of that love. And for me, I probably did the same thing as everyone else. I went through my phases, right? I had my tiger phase. I had my cooking phase. I'm on to my bread making phase. I am definitely a plant parent now. There's 3 right behind me. And Audrey, you would love this. I have a money tree that I got on Chinese New Year's.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I named him Cash Money Tree, like Cash Money Diep. And it's growing. So it's growing. I haven't killed him yet. So he's
my gosh.
Red envelope, like hopefully.
Wait, tell me, what is this? What is the tiger phase? I haven't heard that one.
Tiger King phase?
So I didn't actually watch Tiger King.
Girl, I watched it like 4 times. Okay. And so if you ever want to chat.
Yeah, I heard it was super crazy. That's the only thing I heard. They're like, it's intense and very crazy.
I'm going to be honest. I boycotted it for very long and I finally caved and I watched it and I was like, holy smokes, this is what I've been missing out on. It's just quite comical and just so unreal. And it's like, this is how people live. Okay. Wow.
All right. I'll put it on my watch list, my quarantine watch list. That's so fun. So that's what you call it. You're calling the tiger phase because of this particular show.
Oh, yes. And they're coming out with a movie. So
no,
it's time. Yes, it's time to jump on that again. I have a Tiger King shirt and everything. Yes.
Wow.
This is what I do with my time, you guys.
Hey, you know what? Self-care, girl. How often is it that we just sit around and watch all these shows? And you know what I've been learning to do is to do nothing. You know how hard that is for me? I remember in the beginning of pandemic, I was talking to a good friend of mine and he was like, you know what, Audrey, he's known me for so many years. He's like, you know what you should be doing? I'm like, what? He's like, you should be doing absolutely nothing. Cause here I am sitting and trying to plan out my next year, A, B, C, D with the pandemic. And he's like, why don't you just chill? He's like, you've like literally never taken a break in like all the years that I've known you. Right. And so I think that was the greatest gift of these last 5-6 months now for me. Did you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, I did. Honestly, sitting in silence and like doing nothing, especially I live alone. So in the beginning of pandemic, I didn't have anybody to go to, talk to, even family. I was more nervous to infect them of any sorts of carrying something. And it was a very lonely 7 first weeks of just being with myself, getting creative with myself, maybe throwing myself a dance party at home, like really checking in with the needs and desires that serve me. And that was where the self-exploring came from, self-discovery, and just sitting with my thoughts, even though I didn't have any thoughts sometimes, which was weird because my mind races a lot and I'm an overthinker. So it was actually nice to have this pause and just kind of not worry of a deadline, not think about something. I felt weird that I wasn't working on some things, but I was very kind to myself during this process.
You
I
have
love that so much.
you have
Yeah.
to be. You have to be. At the end of the day, you're all you got, right? It's like that's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And how about you, Tui? I know you moved. You moved in the last couple months.
Yes, during the pandemic, and it has been amazing being right by the beach. Quality of life has shot way up, and I'm about to ask you a question after this. We are so used to these breathtaking moments, right? We travel, we design these incredible experiences and memories that hopefully impact others. And this time has been, if anything, breath giving. And I'm finding moments like that. I'm finding moments to be so present. I get so excited when my iPhone alerts me that my screen time has gone down by X amount of hours, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking things slower. And what I'm doing is I call it Tui time, where I'm taking things twice as slow as I normally do them. And so I'm being with myself, and it's weird. There's a Vietnamese monk that said this, and he said, do everything in that moment to the best of your ability. So when you wash the dishes, do it to the best of your ability. And us as event professionals, we will do things to the best of our abilities, but you don't think about that with dishes. When I breathe, when I find moments where I get out of that trance, I say, I'm going to breathe the best I can right now, quality breath 4 times before I do my next thing. And taking that pause, right? Taking that moment, what Samira is saying, for the self-love, for checking in with yourself. How are you feeling today, Tui? I know it's weird. Like, I talk to myself, but how am I feeling? Okay, why are those feelings there? And then, okay, like, I have more mindfulness. Now I can continue on with my day. And so that has been just breath giving.
I love that. That was so poetic, Tui. And so I like
She's so good with her words.
right? Yeah, I mean, I can't take it like, it's one of those screenshots I could just like save on my wall. What you just, like, literally what you just said. That was so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. It's actually tough because I feel like, and it's weird because we all are co-hosts on a podcast.
Hmm.
English was my third language. So it's funny, I threw myself in uncomfortable situations because I actually am a little, I feel like I need to improve on the way I articulate and communicate. And so it's nice that you guys acknowledge that. And so I was going to ask you, Audrey, since you're asking us all the questions,
Hmm.
you're the travel bug. You travel more than us two combined. And so how has it been now? What are you doing if you are traveling, how are you traveling safely?
Yeah. In March, when California was shut down, I was in Austin. I was actually supposed to be doing an activation at South by Southwest. And of course, they canceled South by, I want to say 2 weeks before it was supposed to happen. I was supposed to speak there. I didn't know what to think. I wasn't sure if it was just California shutting down or it was going to be the entire country. So I actually ended up staying in Austin for 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of quarantine, because similar to Samira, I live by myself. So, on a personal note, I was going through a pretty tough time at that point too, and I was staying with friends in Austin. So I was like, okay, well, maybe if I stay here, I'll have some sense of community and at least I'll have a roomie, of some sort, right? So when I realized that this was going to be much longer than 3 weeks, I had to come home. I'm like, I had to come home and like figure out my situation. I canceled 5 trips. I literally had 5 trips on the board in the next, I think from March through May, I was supposed to travel to 5 different cities and I canceled all of them. And yeah, it was very, very, very difficult for me because not only do I have the travel bug, but I'm an extreme extrovert. So, to tell me that I have to sit at home and literally not do anything and not go out and have nowhere to go and see no one was like my absolute biggest fear. But I don't know what it is. It maybe because I have like an Asian upbringing. It's just like I think the one thing that I got from my childhood, my parents, is perseverance and getting through really tough times. And so, I think within a couple of weeks, I found a little routine for myself. And I worked a lot in self care. I started meditating. I found my sense of community in, just honestly online, for the first couple of weeks. And then I had a couple of people that I call my quarantine crew that I see on a weekly basis who are also like they live by themselves. They have literally, they don't see anyone. And so we would just like rotate on whose houses we would go to. And it's just like four of us. Right. So I don't think I could have gone through these last 5 months without that, in terms of your question about traveling. I've been doing a lot of short trips, really small trips. I went to Joshua Tree for the first time. Can you believe it? I've lived here for 12 years, and it's the first time I went to Joshua Tree. So that was a huge blessing. And I'm completely obsessed with Joshua Tree, like so much that I want to invest in property there at some point. It's just such a beautiful place, and it makes me feel so, I don't know, so free, right? When I was out there. So I did that.
Alive. Hmm.
Right? Alive. And then I went to Paso Robles wine tasting for the first time. And that's only like a 3 hour drive. So I'm really taking the time to discover my own backyard. And I'm really grateful for that. So I've made it work. Of course, I still miss getting on a plane and traveling across the world somewhere, but I'm discovering a lot of new places in our own backyard. So I would say from March till now, I am absolutely thriving compared to what I was in March.
Amazing. Honestly, I just came back from Joshua Tree myself, and it's magic out there. And it's been amazing to take this time to rediscover our land and where we live. And you're right. I've never even, I took a trip to Paso Robles as well. Never been there. I'm going to definitely go back. I discovered a small town called Cayucas, which is right after Pismo Beach. It's the smallest little tiny beach town. So beautiful. Only has maybe about, I don't know, a few hundred people there. So it was like so nice to do these small trips and go through a little getaway of a mental escape, even if it's just for 3 days or 2 days. Just doing the drive alone was so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And I just
Hmm.
discovered Morro Bay too while I was out in Paso.
Ooh.
I don't know if you've been there, but that's a
Mm-mm.
tip. Morro Bay it's pretty cute. It's like there's just a giant rock that's like the symbol of Morro Bay, and I think it's about 30 minutes, maybe less than that, 20 minutes from Paso Robles. So if you ever make that trip back to Paso Robles, definitely make a trip out to Morro Bay. It's so beautiful. The seafood is really good there, and I don't think I ever would have gone there if it wasn't for this pandemic, in all honesty, because where was I supposed to be? I was supposed to be in Europe right now. So yeah, I know. I know, right? Oh my God. So tell me, guys, like, what do you think? Because I've been thinking a lot about this as well, being in the event space. Like, when do you think we'll see an in-person event again?
Well, right now we're focused on virtual, and it all depends on what part of the world you're in. So there's different state and city regulations. And really, as event professionals now, we truly have duty of care, right? We always talk about how, oh, don't be stressed out. We're not brain surgeons. We're not saving lives. But now we are saving lives. We have the potential of saving lives. And so right now, virtual, and then it's going to go into hybrid events. And hybrid events is both virtual audience and live events. And so trying to put those two platforms, put those two environments together will be the next task for for designers and planners to think about and to learn more on. And so right now we're slated from all I'm reading all the industry articles and newsletters, and they're saying probably beginning to mid of 2021 is when we'll really see everything, once the vaccines and like technology will get better and more implementations, SOPs, safety guidelines will come out more and more as things develop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of venues, a lot like, Rose Bowl, all of these big venues are now adapting to the social distancing protocols of making space, limiting the amount of audience, really bringing in these codes and policies to make it a safe environment. It's just been very interesting. I really would love it to go back, but as of right now, we are shifting towards the hibernate way of events, and it's good and bad. Honestly, I'm enjoying it only because I always kind of hated a crowd. So now this is kind of like an organized scene of like where your space is, where you need to go, and you're going to have staff on deck navigating. So I'm just being very hopeful and just seeing where this can go.
Right. And do you think that all of these usual festivals that we've been seeing that have been canceled this year are actually going to be postponed and happen in 2021?
With a lot of regulations in play, like I don't know if Coachella will come back next year. If it does, it's going to be half the audience amount that's going to be able to attend. There's going to be so many different, like, I don't know if you've seen it, but those kind of like little box things where 4 people can fit in an area, or like you're kind of sectioned off. And it's going to be so much more structured, and they will lose money on ticket sales because it's going to be regulated of the attendance of how many people can come. They might even charge now for live streaming there, so it's very unpredictable. It's hard to say if it'll come back. I'm really hopeful by 2021 we'll be back in 2022 we'll be back in full swing.
Mm-hmm. And how are people charging for live streams? And I'm asking because during this pandemic, I've also been hosting a bunch of Zoom parties, which I think I've invited you guys to. And, like the goal of these live streams is to raise money for different charities, right? But the question is, how can you charge people if it's just like on Zoom, right? Like I've also I'm a teacher, so I've been teaching donation-based stretch classes, right? But outside of asking for a donation, is there a platform or is there a way that you can actually charge for that link?
I think so. Yeah, right now, and I like this pause because we're able to then refocus and realign. It should be always quality over quantity, right? Our industry has been so saturated with so many events that right now we're looking at it being shorter, like more local and smaller, and that creates a more intimate space for the attendees to really connect with other people, right? We're not just planning parties, we're really elevating the experience. And so there's a sense of belonging there. Like that's really what we're doing. We're creating those experiences. And so ILEA is doing the same thing here in Los Angeles. We have a virtual drag bingo on Monday, August 31st. And when you have this blueprint, this foundation saying with our board of directors, we said, hey, you guys, this term, it's not about making money. And it's not, it's not all these things that we've thought about in the past. There's 3 things: diversity, inclusion, and community. Those are the most important things. That's what's going to drive us. So when we charge for our virtual events now, there's going to be a tie-in to it. And so there's a charity tie-in for this one. It's the LGBTQ plus charity group called Project Q, which is local here. So again, hits on community and hits on inclusion because it helps the homeless youth really feel supported and loved. And so we're very aware, hyper aware that right now event professionals such as myself, I'm unemployed. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people that are furloughed. So we want them to feel like they're making an impact from their home. And so that's a way to do it. I've seen other associations say it's donation based, pay what you want, pay what you can. There is more benefits now, so things might be more complimentary for the time being, so you can see and experience it. And then there's a charge, but really, the content, if it's worth it, people will come and pay. And we can be both vulnerable right now. I have done way more online shopping than I should. So if my money is going towards materialistic things, that to me, I can put money towards my education, my continuing education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree too. There are things, I don't know if you guys heard of Twitch.com, but Twitch is doing where you can host your own channels now. And if you want to charge people by doing like a DJ session or this, like it's actually making some money for people in the video game community, in the music world. I know so many people that are hosting festivals on Twitch, and you have to log in or get a code or do a donation. One that I participated in was actually like, Twitch had lightning in a bottle. They had EDC. They had all of these festivals virtually, and it was for free. But each time we logged in, ads popped up. Please donate to this, bringing causes and awareness to organizations while you're online. So I suggest for those that are doing this, don't be afraid to ask for a donation. Don't be afraid, because what they're gaining from the experience is always priceless. You can't put a price on it. They're going to want more. They're going to want to do it. So just be realistic on what you're charging and what you're asking for, and be genuine and authentic of where this is coming from, and let them know, like, I want to do this again. You guys want to be a part of this? Yes. Okay. Next time, just donate $5. Like, let's keep this going, So that's what I highly encourage, because right now this is the route that we're taking, and we should all support a cause and just be involved.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement. I'm actually curious, how was LIB? I had friends that were performing on the virtual LIB festival, but how was it as a viewer? Did you log in and you got to watch like various different stages like you were going to a festival? Like, how did that work?
Yes. So I was actually quite impressed with their production. Coming from a production standpoint, I'm always watching how they navigate transition. Each DJ performed in their home. So what was really cool about it is the tech team in Twitch did an augmented reality. So for instance, how I have this virtual background, they plugged in virtual elements into their screen. So there would be a DJ there with her set, and then from nowhere, they would plug in maybe like Thuy dancing right at the corner here, or they would plug in people inside to make it very immersive and as if you're kind of there. And each time a DJ was done, they had kind of like a breakout room to where the room is there. It has graphics, the music's still going, and then it does a countdown to the next DJ. And that's when you kind of know, okay, this is my break time. The next DJ is going to come. They had a lineup. They had an MC person who would navigate through each set. So it was pretty creative. I was quite surprised. Lightning in a bottle blew my mind versus EDC. I'm going to be honest. EDC, it just didn't do it for me to where I felt like this was a real concert. It didn't have that effect for me versus like Lightning in a Bottle, where they really made it a graphically pleasing show.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious, because as the weeks go on, I feel like people are getting more and more tech savvy, and all of these virtual concerts and festivals are getting better and better. And I know this week, I think it's the virtual Burning Man is this week.
I was going to ask if anyone was going to Burning Man this year.
Yeah. So there's a virtual burn, and I have a ton of friends involved in the back end that are helping produce this event. So I'm very, very curious to see how that's going to go. And I mean, I need to check when they're even going to start that. But yeah, it's going to be super interesting. And as event producers, you guys should definitely check it out. And since Samira, you were supposed to go for the first time this year, You'll get to go
For the
virtual.
second time. Yeah, I'm going to go virtually. I'm super excited for it, to be honest. I'm going to dress up at home. I'm going to get my TV streamed ready to go. Maybe invite one friend over, or even just do a Zoom party. This is my new favorite thing, is like you have your Zoom party on. So you have all your friends from all around the world that can just log in at any time. And then you have your, the thing on the TV. So it's like kind of fun of like keeping it creative and just kind of going with the times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Well, make sure you invite me to the Zoom party.
Yeah, I want to be invited too. We should have our
yeah,
like an LA based tribe.
Yeah. I'll have my whole costume already. That's awesome.
Oh, we know you all. You have the best Burning Man costumes.
Yeah.
Girl, my birthday was the second week of quarantine, beginning of April, and that was my theme party. So I threw like a Zoom party that was, well, it was Mad Max themed, but it's very similar to what people wear at the Burn. And I like busted out my whole outfit. I was like, you know what? If I have to party at home by myself, at least I'm gonna like doll up and look good.
Yes, get it. Yes.
Cool. So, I mean, I wanted to ask, like, so for people that wanted to support folks in the event industry, how can we do that? Where do people go to support people that have been furloughed or, need support in your industry?
I would say there's a meme about this, right? When it's like, check up on your extrovert friends, they're not doing okay, right? It's the same thing for event professionals. Just check up on us. Just and in a way where it's not, hey, like, what are you doing for business? It's, hey, how are you? How are you feeling? Yeah, me too. We're in this together. And I think building that community is really what we need right now, because it is such human nature to want to socially connect. And for the designers, the planners that do that, the supplier partners, right now we're kind of in this limbo, right? And so when you open up and have those discussions, because right now the world is way bigger than just even the event industry. There is, national conventions that are happening, voting in November for the US is happening. There's also economically, and on top of that, a virus that is taking over the world. So that's a lot of heavy things. And to be that outlet, to be that sounding board for an individual or for a group is really what we need right now.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think at the end of the day, we just need to band together as a community, right? Like, regardless of what industry we're in. And that's why it's so beautiful what you ladies are doing, during this whole pandemic. And, we need more light in our lives right now. And thank you for being that.
Aw, thanks, Audrey. I really appreciate that. And exactly what Thuy was touching upon. It's like in this event industry, we are multi-talented people. Like, we do budgeting, we do project management. Like, our skill sets are skyrocketing of all of the knowledge that we know. So it's interesting of when, when people do, I've had people reach out and was just like, Samira, I actually have some accounting questions. Like, I have some accounting needs. Can you help me? Yes, I would like to help you. I want to be active. Samira, can you look at this graphic? Like, it's good to actually just come to your friends and your resources just for even outside of the events, because we're just knowledgeable in all aspects of fields, of careers. We deal with doctors, we deal with lawyers, we deal with, every type of person in the world. And it's just so rewarding to just share knowledge and to be able to just be there for each other, because as Thuy is mentioning, in the event world, we're nonstop. And this is a time where we're just at a stop. So I'm sure they would be eager to just talk on the phone and just shed some light on any kind of topic. Like, that makes my day when someone calls me for some advice, if they have to let go an employee, if they have to go through something, like, like, I want to be there for them. And that just helps me through my days to make me feel wanted and needed still in this life. And to touch base upon that, like, going into your routines for the day. What do you do to fuel you, to keep you going? And how do you support each other? And this has been something that I've been doing, is just randomly calling and just asking them how their day is, or like brainstorming a random idea just to like keep the creative juices going for the day. So it's been nice to actually just stay connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you guys also have, ILEA, right? How many members are in this group, and how do you guys communicate with each other?
Well, we're an international association, so there's thousands and thousands of us from all over the world, and we stay connected through, we have Facebook and LinkedIn groups. We have our community on ILEA Hub, which is our website base. We, within that, have chapters, and so being on the leadership team of Los Angeles, we're doing the reach outs, and we're hosting these events that actually it's really nice because now all ILEA members can attend those. And so it's a divide and conquer for sure for all of our chapters from all over the world. And it's nice because you feel like you're a part of a bigger piece of that puzzle. It's not you just isolated at home. It's, these groups get more and more when it comes to, that's the beauty of technology.
I'm so grateful to be a part of several organizations as well. It makes me realize I'm not alone and that we're all in this together, right? I mean, and so I'm deep in the travel space as well, as you ladies know, and I'm chapter leader for a group called Travel Massive. So it's the same thing. Like when this whole pandemic happened, all the chapter leaders got on a WhatsApp chat, and we're just chatting about the travel industry and hospitality and where that's going to go. And hospitality's been hit just as hard, right? And it's just so nice to know that you're not alone, and there's a place to just get resources and chat with someone that understands what you're going through. So I think that's so important.
Yeah, I agree. We're also part of an organization called FET, which is a Los Angeles just event hospitality group. And I look forward to their weekly happy hours. Now they're doing it more for like a coffee chat. And these are times where you're with a Zoom call with about, 300 people. And it's broken down into breakout sessions to where it gets a little bit more intimate. And you're in a little discussion for about 10 minutes in a group of 6 people, sometimes less, and you just talk about your feelings for the day. Some are crying, some are smiling. Like, it's just a nice way to just check in and see how people are doing. And we're all, like you said, Audrey, we're all in it together. So like, let's see ways that we can fuel each other. Like, I was so happy that I was able to give 3 people last week some really good advice and really help shift their perspective of what they've been doing, like, implementing a new way, showing them a different direction. And it was rewarding for me that I was able to help people. And because that's what fuels me and makes me feel good, like to be able to interact with other people. Of course, I want to hug more and I would love to feel the affection, but at least I can still give it from afar.
And I feel like people are starting to slowly, come out a little bit more, as in like, so I have, for example, I have a girlfriend I haven't seen basically all of quarantine, right? And I used to see her on a weekly basis. But, like you were saying, we have to respect everybody's boundaries and limits in this whole pandemic. And so for her, she basically said anyone that she sees, she needs to see a negative test result. And so it's her birthday this week, and I'm like, I haven't seen you in 5 months. I mean, whatever you want, right? But I also have other friends that are like, oh, it's fine, just wear a mask and we're all good, And so it's really interesting navigating through that. And I think it's going to be interesting navigating through that in the next year, especially when we start seeing more and more people in person.
Yeah, I agree. And even actually going out now in public, there are rooftops that are open. There are restaurants that are still operating. It's just more of your comfortability level and what are you doing to stay safe during this? I carry so much hand sanitizer. I have 2 masks. I have gloves in the car for when I go to the gas station. I am one of those crazy pandemic people that just don't want to catch it. And that's okay. And that's why my internal circle is very small, and we all go get tested often, to be honest, and we all do these small things just for our own well-being and knowing, because it would be terrible if I were to pass it along to somebody. You know, I have nieces and nephews that are under 2 years old that I love to see. So I'm very cautious of my actions for others. And I wish more people behave that way. I feel like LA, sadly, is the least country city that like people are actually taking this very seriously. And it hurts me because I'm like, it's something simple for what we should be doing, but like you're not doing it still. So why don't you just help us all out and just wear your mask? Just do the small part, and we can all possibly go out soon and actually live normal. And that's the one thing, is like other people, you can't force them, but you can just only control what you're doing.
I mean, I want to end on a positive note. How about let's talk about what we're excited about in 2021. What are you most excited about? And what are your greatest hopes for our next year?
Oh man, there's like so many wants and needs for next year. For me, I guess it's rebranding, reevaluating what is actually important to me and who I am, what my purpose is on this earth, and continuing towards those goals. I felt like before the pandemic, it was such go to the grind, it was such tunnel vision, and now that I'm able to see the bigger picture and to step back,
Yeah.
right? And with the responsibility of being a leader, with the responsibility of providing, taking care of my friends and family by simply wearing a mask, those are things that make me really step back and think, okay, well, if 2021 is going to be any different, then I need to lead by example. I need to really be there, follow through, be accountable for my actions, and to continue to provide value for others. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
I love
Beautiful, Thuy.
that.
Beautiful. And I feel the same way. Adding value to life. This year really shook me up, upside down. Just like Thuy, it was a working machine. I didn't have any kind of pause or breaks. This is the first pause or break I've had in 8 years, and it feels amazing. And to be able to really self-discover and explore, to bring that into the new year, to really come up with new ideas and really show up differently and stronger, and being that leader to help lead a group, to help people that are devastated and are going through hardship. Like, that's my main focus right now, is really being the voice for others and helping and serving as much as I can. I want to be a service. I want to be of service to people. I want to be able to help them if they can't speak. I want to be there and showing up as strong as possible. And that all comes within the work that I'm doing within myself, so that I can be this shining light for others, so that I can be a positive force, so that I can be hope for others. And it all comes from all the self-work that I'm doing now of my morning practice of meditation, going through breath work and body movement, and moving the stagnant energy that just lingering around the world and people. So I'm really hopeful for next year that we will start shedding a layer off, and that we will start to blossom into a whole new community and union of this, like, we survived this most historical moment in life, and we're still here to talk about it, and we're still here surviving. And that's what the reward is for me, is that I'm still here and I'm still going, and I'm not letting it stop me, and it's just growing more and more. So that's been something that I've just been telling myself. I'm just like, I'm so happy to just be here and alive right now.
We need a cue exit music to be Survivor by Destiny's Child. Yeah, just make a note there.
Yes, take that note.
Audrey, what's yours? We want to hear yours. What are you most looking forward to?
Gosh, I mean, it's interesting. I completely agree with both of you guys. I think 2020 is a year where our slate is getting cleaned, right? It's like, let's let's restart, right? Let's restart. Let's take a deeper look at why we do the things we do, right? And this is not even beyond just ourselves, right? Like for me personally, I've been striving to be my most authentic and truest self, right? It's like, why am I doing this? Why am I involved in all of these different projects? And what does that mean to me? And does that align with my own personal life mission, right? But then even beyond that, it's what am I doing for the greater good of our community and our world, right? And I think what all these different events that have happened this year have really it's been a huge reminder, like in your face reminder, that this is whatever we're doing is way beyond just ourselves and what we're doing in our small little bubbles. So I think I'm an optimist, and I think that people will are forced to, in this last year, really reflect on that. And I think everyone's going to have a little bit more empathy, in the next year, in everything that we do, right? And even within our own small communities and our own social circles, I think that's going to affect the rest of our community and the rest of our world. So I'm hopeful, and I'm very optimistic that with all the things that are happening, that it's going to be a good reset and refresh for everything else we do for the next decade and beyond. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being a part of my podcast. How can people find you guys before we go?
Well, you can find me, Samira Bashout, on Instagram. And also you can follow my podcast, which is Wild Radiance. Wild Radiance on Instagram, Facebook as well. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music. It's just a fun podcast for the modern day women that are just tackling life and that are boss babes, being bold. We help you and guide you with just fun topics that are going on, tapping into the abundance money, going into flow within yourself and body, never settling. So these are just some fun ways that you can find me, Samira Bashout and Wild Radiance.
Yay! And you can find me on any virtual platforms. So Instagram is Thuy Diep, LinkedIn, Facebook. Shoot me over an email. If you want to get to know more about the Event Brew podcast, it's just #EventBrew, or you can email me personally, or on, we'll provide the resources there. Or you can catch me zooming by Venice Boardwalk on my rollerblades. Wave hello when you go out and get some safe exercise.
Perfect. And I'll add all of your contact information below as well when I push this video out. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for taking time out of your day. And I'm so excited to be able to see you guys at some point in person, hopefully this year. But if not, please be safe, and I will look out for you too, zooming by.
Thank you so much, Audrey. It was a pleasure to be on your show and, talking about this remote working Bay. So we got to do.
Awesome. Well, stay safe, ladies. I'll talk to you soon.